Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is day 19 of our 100 days of DevOps, and so far we have covered a whole lot. We've covered some of the fundamentals. We're using the first 21 days to cover the core foundations of DevOps, and then afterwards we start covering different DevOps tools and start building. So we've covered Linux, we've covered networking, and yesterday we covered version control, where we talked about Git, GitHub, and all of that. So if you're yet to see all those videos, you can go to my channel and watch the videos, and I'm sure that you're going to gain a thing or two. And if you're seeing this video for the first time, what we talk about in this particular channel is everything DevOps, cloud, and tech as a whole. So we are trying to achieve is that we are trying to gain good foundational knowledge of DevOps. So we are doing a 100 days challenge where we cover the foundations, we cover the fundamentals, and then build on it to get good hands-on skill to be able to help us tackle real-world DevOps task and DevOps prepare us basically for life as a DevOps engineer. So today I'm going to be covering something that is very, very, very important to a DevOps engineer. It's something that you interact with on a daily basis. So it's good to have a very, very good knowledge of it. So, and what that is what I call YAML. So YAML is basically like let's say, I wouldn't really call it a programming language. Like we have different programming language. We have Python, we have JavaScript, and all of the rest. So YAML is not a programming language, but YAML is just a language that is used to express data structure in human readable form, just the way I have it defined on my screen. So basically, it's just used to arrange data. Basically, it's just like arranging data in a human readable format. That's basically what YAML is. So yes, like other languages, YAML can be saved in .yaml and .yml. And the reason why YAML is very, very important is because YAML is used in writing our core DevOps files. Like the tools that we use, the core tools we use in DevOps, your Kubernetes, your Docker Compose, your CI/CD, Ansible, Prometheus, and the rest, they are all written in YAML format. So that's why it is very, very important to know how to write in YAML language, and that is why I'm covering this particular part of this journey. And by the end of this video, I'm very, very sure, I'm pretty sure that you will be confident in writing any YAML file. So, and that's what I'm here to achieve today. So without wasting more time, we are going to do hands-on. We're going to do a lot of hands-on. I'll show you how different things are written, and I will try to make it as simple as possible. So if you're watching this video and you have an idea of what YAML is, but you're not really sure on how to go about it, or you're not really confident in your skill in writing YAML file, I'm very sure that by the end of this video you would be more confident and you'll be able to write things in YAML. So basically, YAML is a data serialization language. So we have predominantly three data serialization language. We have the XML, we have the JSON, and we have YAML. So, and you can see that the same thing is written in these three different languages. And you can see of all the three, YAML seems to be more straightforward. It's more easy to read than the other ones. XML and JSON, they look more complex to read and write, while YAML seems very, very simple or easy relative to the other two. So that is why we are going to be focusing on YAML for the next today and tomorrow. So for the next 2 days, we're going to cover everything about YAML, and you will have good knowledge and understanding of what YAML entails. So without wasting more time, let's go to our terminal. So today we are not going to be using our SSH client. We are going to start working with VS Code. And as you can see, I have a file called test.yaml. So like I said, YAML is the extension for YAML is either YAML or YML. So that's why you have it like this. So now to write a YAML file, there are 3 things that you need to be very, very good at. Basically, YAML file contains just basically those 3 structures. So, and what are the 3 things you need to know? Let me go back to the screen here and let me write it here. So the 3 things you need to know. 1, key value pair. Key value pair. Number 2 is list. Number 3 is objects. So these are the 3 foundational things that you need to know in YAML. Every other thing in YAML is built on it. If you check any YAML file, you can check any Kubernetes. We're actually going to review some YAML files here, like your Kubernetes and all of that. We're going to check it, and you would see that in everything that we are doing, these 3 things keep coming up. So I'm going to talk about other things, but basically, one thing you should have at your back of your mind is that if you can master these 3 things, you can be able to write any type of YAML file, and it's something that I can assure you of. So without wasting much time, I don't really want this video to be long, so I'll try to be as brief and at the same time cover enough for you to be able to do stuff. So most of the things, by the time we start applying all these things that we are learning, we start working on projects and we start writing files, configuration files and the rest, you get more understanding. And by yourself, you can also go beyond what I have in this video and do more practice. The more you practice, the more you get good at it. That's just how it is. So we're going to cover these 3 major things, and I'm also going to like highlight some 1 or 2 other things. So let's first talk about key value pair. So okay, before then, what is a data serialization language? So imagine as a DevOps engineer, you're working with your development team and they tell you to let's say, for example, now they need information of maybe a virtual machine or an EC2 instance, as the case may be, and you just create a text file, like your normal TXT file, and you just write the name of the virtual machine is a demo. The name of the let's say the OS operating system that was installed on it is Ubuntu. Let's say the RAM is 25 gig, and you just write it on a straight line like this. It's not actually going to make sense. By the time you keep writing and writing, you will see that it's much more difficult to read. So now, but when you write it like this, when you write something like name, and you say demo, and you come and write name, you say demo, and you say you can say operating system. You can say yes, can say Linux, and then you see that it is very, very easy. Let's just like this. Yeah, so it's very, very easy and much more human readable. And also it helps when you're writing things like scripting, which can iterate amongst a file. So it makes it easy for you to go to a certain line. You just specify the line when you're trying to loop and all of that. So it makes it easy for you to do a lot of things, a bunch of things with that particular file, unlike when you just write on a straight line. So basically that is what data serialization language is here to address, so that it makes it much more easy to work with a file. So basically that is like the explanation of what YAML has actually come to do. So with this way, you can do so many things. You can write it in a script. You can even add it in your code for your conditionals, your loops, and all of that. So that's an overview of that. So without wasting much time, we are going to start with the first one, which is key value pair. Basically, key value pairs is just as its name sounds, key colon value. So you have a key and you have the value for that particular key. For example, Let me make this thing bigger. Okay, so we have the key, then you have the value for that particular key. Let's say, for example, you have let's say your what do you call it now? You can say, let's look for something easy. Let's say name, and you say what's your name? You can say Sam. So that's basically just how key value pair works. You have a key and you have your value for it. Like the example I gave before, when I say operating system is a key. Operating system is a key, and then what is the value for that particular key? I can say Ubuntu. So basically that is what a key and value pair is. Just, it's as simple as that. It's not something that is very, very difficult. Like I said, YAML is very, very easy to actually write once you understand the building blocks of YAML. So this is basically key value pairs. Operating system is a key, Ubuntu is a value, version is a key, the version 20.04 is a value. So that is basically an overview of what a key value pair is. So move to the next, which is list. So now, how do you write a list in YAML? Now, for example, we want to list different versions of let's say we want to list different versions of this particular Ubuntu. We can say a version and then you give a space. So it's bringing it for me. I have an extension on my VS Code, so it does auto suggest. So sometimes it just suggests for me. So now this is a list. This is a list of versions, and you can see that every list comes with a hyphen. There's a space after the first two characters. You put a hyphen and then space. You write what you want to write. So basically, this is how you write a list. Now, list of versions. So I can say 0.05. If there's anything like that, then I can do another one. So just like that, etc. So that's basically how to write a list. So now we've written a key value pair and we've written a list. So the third thing that we are going to cover is an object. So what is an object? Basically, I can move all of this and okay, I can move all of this. Can move this, move it by 1 bit, and I'll come here and write let's see, what can I write here now? I can say computers, and I put a plus. So now an object contains a mix of key value pairs and list. We call it nested lists and dictionaries. So basically, an object contains a mixture of key value pairs and list. So in this case, computers is an object. Operating system is a key value pair, while version is a list. It is as simple and straightforward as that. So you can now go ahead and have list of key value pairs or list of objects. I can come now and say I can make operating system also an object, in the sense that I can come and I can shift Ubuntu to the next line. I put a space. I make Ubuntu an object. I shift the version also. So this way, this is an object. This is an object. This is an object. This is a list. Yes. So I can also say, name, and I name it Ubuntu. So now this becomes, I come here and I give another name. So you see, it's all coming together. So now what is happening now? I'm having a list of objects. So this is an object. This is an object. This is a key value pair. This is an object. This is a list. But all of this is a list of objects. So you can see that everything revolves around these three things: a key value pair, a list, and an object. So it's as easy as that. If you check any YAML file, you will just see these are the three things you're going to predominantly see. Let's take an example. Let me close all of these tabs. So let's see Kubernetes. Let's go to Kubernetes documentation and see what we can find there. Let's see what we have for pods. So this is an Nginx pod. You can see that this is the YAML file for an Nginx pod. Let's copy it and go back to our VS Code. And I'm going to show you. So what do we have here? This is an example of a pod. So you can see here, API version is a key value pair. Kind is a key value pair. Metadata is an object because it has a key value pair inside of it. So I can as well come here. I can write namespace. You can put so many things in your metadata. So metadata is an object because it has other things embedded in it. So spec is an object because it has containers, which is actually a list of objects. So this is also an object. By this one is a list. I can come here and say I want another container. I can say I want another container, and I can put something else. I can say maybe Redis. I can put Redis. So now I have two containers in this pod. The first container is Nginx. The second container is Redis. If you don't actually really understand this now, when we start covering Kubernetes, you would get a clear understanding of what all this API version, spec, containers, Redis and all of that. You understand what it actually is. But I'm just using this to explain what exactly is involved in the YAML file. So you can see now that everything that we have revolves around these three things, which is your key value pair, your list, and your objects. So you can see every other thing revolves around it. You can see port. Port is an object that has a list. So you can see, because how do you know a list? Like I said, a list always has a hyphen in front of it. So anytime you see an hyphen in front of anything, that is a list. That is how you identify a list. It's as simple and straightforward as that. And yes, something I forgot to cover. For best practice, before you start your YAML, before you start writing your configuration, it's advisable for you to put 3 hyphens at the top. Basically, this comes in handy when you have like so many things you want to actually write in one single file. Let's say after this you want to write another, maybe you want to write let's go back and see what a deployment looks like. Let's see deployment. Let's get a deployment file and let's copy one. So you can see that deployment is the same. So instead of having a different file called deployment, I can come back here and say, can put another 3 hyphen and then paste what I have just. Let me take this down a bit. So you can see that this is what I pasted. This is a deployment. And let's check what is inside the deployment. You can see that this is actually a key value pair. Kind is a key value pair. You can see metadata is an object. This is a key value pair. This is an object. So spec is also an object, like I said. So, and you can see all of this is just, you can see this one, containers is a list. You can see that it's the same thing. It revolves around the same thing. Three things are very, very fundamental and foundational when you're writing a YAML file. You need to be able to write, you need to understand a key value pair, you need to understand a list, and you need to understand object. Once you have a good understanding of these three things, believe me, you can write any type of YAML file because everything revolves around these three building blocks of YAML. You can see that it's just the same thing. Basically, this is the configuration for a pod, while this is configuration for a deployment, but you can see the structure is still the same thing. It still revolves around the same building blocks: key value pair, list, and objects. So basically, this is how you write your YAML file. It's as simple as that. There's no big deal. There's no big deal at all. So there's something else I would want to cover, and there's something we call, okay, there's for YAML, I want to talk about Boolean. What I mean is Boolean value. So Boolean values are basically values that are true or false. So for YAML, you can have for YAML you can have true. You can have true for as a Boolean value. You can have false as a Boolean value. You can have yes as a Boolean value. You can have no as a Boolean value. You can have on as a Boolean value, and you can have off as a Boolean value. Because before now, most people believe that, or in most languages, Boolean values are basically represented by true or false. But in YAML, you have true, false, you have on, off, and you have yes, no. So also, one thing that makes YAML better than the other, almost, I wouldn't really say better, I would say preferable than the other two data serialization languages, is the fact that in YAML, you can leave comments. So you can say, in front of this, I can put a comment and say, once your comment is represented by hash. So you can say, this is how you can use, exactly. So this is how you can use comment in YAML. So this is interpreted as a comment. And if you go back to our session on bash scripting, it was the same thing. So basically, your hash also can serve as a comment. When we cover Python, I think we're meant to cover Python. I think on day 21, we'll cover Python, just a little bit of it, and you'll see how we can also write comments in Python. So yes, YAML helps us or enables us to be able to write comments. Why I'm not exactly sure you have that liberty when working with JSON or XML. So in an interview, they might want to ask, why do you prefer YAML over the other? So why is YAML preferable? These are one of the things that you can actually say that, okay, YAML allows you to write comments, and writing comments in your code really helps because, like I said, you will not be working alone. You'll be working in a team, in a group. And one thing is very, very fundamental. Communication is key. If your code is not properly communicated and understood by other DevOps engineers, other developers, then there's going to be a problem. So, and that is why comments is very, very important. Comments can come in handy in the sense that it explains to other persons what you're actually doing. Sometimes even you yourself, you can actually get to a point where you forget or you lose track of what you're doing. But when you add comments from time to time when you're working, it helps you to stay on track. So once you see a comment, you can say, oh, this is what I'm actually trying to achieve. So one other thing I want to talk about, that's the last thing I'll talk about for this video, is there's something called multi-line string. Multi-line string. You might be wondering why I have autocorrect. Like, when I say autocorrect, I'll say autofill in as I'm writing the code. It's an extension, actually. It's an extension. You can come to your if you're using VS Code, you can come to your VS Code and you can have you'll see something when you type YAML. When you type YAML, this first one, you can install it. Then I also have I have extensions for Kubernetes, for Docker, and for Terraform. So when we start working with those tools, we'll see the extensions that we need to install. That's why I really like working with IDEs, because with IDEs you're able to do things faster, and you can even use Copilot. This is the Google Copilot, and it comes in handy. So yes, for this particular part, just install the YAML plugin or the YAML extension, and it's going to help when writing. It makes things easier for you. So multi-line strings is happens when, for example, you're trying to write you have a long text you want to write, but you don't want to write it to the end, you want to break it, or you have different lines of something that you want to write and you just want to put them in YAML format. So this is how you write it. I will give you two different scenarios on how to write it. Let's say, for example, you have like 4 lines you want to write. Let's say this is line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3, and this is line 4. So we want to write 4 lines of this place. Now, how do we make YAML understand that these are 4 different lines? So it comes in when you use a pipe. So the moment you use a pipe, YAML interprets this as, normal text. This is 4 different lines of code. Oh yes, let me just say of code, because yes, we might need to write some commands and all of that. So yes, this is how to write your multi-line string, in the sense that you have 4 different lines. But it's different when you want one line. You want to write one particular line of code, but you want to break it down into 4 places. Let's say, and this is line 1. You want it on the same line with a comma, and the same line with a comma, and it's the same thing. Basically, this is one line, but you don't want it lined up like this. You could have like a very long text. This is just an example. So you can have like a very long text where you want to break it down into different lines. So you can always, put it the way it was before, with the comma and all of that. But this time around, instead of using a pipe, you use a greater than sign. So greater than sign would make YAML interpret this as one single line of code. It's one single line, but you've broken it down into 4 different lines, but it is still understood to be one single line. Unlike the other one, where if you use pipe will interpret it as 4 different lines, but greater than sign will interpret it as one different line, one single line rather. So that said, we've covered basically the basics or the foundation of YAML, and I've also explained that YAML contains 3 major building blocks: your key value pair, your list, and your objects. So everything revolves around those 3. If you're able to hack it, if you're able to know when to write a list, if you're able to know when to write when something is an object and when something is a key value pair, and you can be able to combine all of them together, trust me, you will be very, very good with writing any form of YAML file. So, and the more we progress in this journey, we will be interacting with YAML a whole lot, because it's something that you cannot do without. On a daily basis, you would write YAML files, because a lot of tools are beginning to also adopt YAML files. Apart from GitHub Actions, I think GitLab and all of that, and all the other some other CI/CD tools are beginning to use YAML. So it's not just GitHub Actions. So basically, with time, you would find out that we'll be working with YAML a whole lot of time, and it is very, very important that we cover it, and not just cover it, we understand. So with more practice and as time goes on, you would get good understanding, and you'll be able to write YAML files. So we're also going to this is the basics Tomorrow we'll look at a little more advanced concept of YAML when we talk about YAML anchors and the likes. So let me leave you with this. You can practice, get good understanding, and tomorrow I'll see you again. Cheers.